You are now tuned into the SoCHiology podcast. SoCHiology is a lifestyle brand that analyzes Chicago culture and connected topics abroad, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. This week's episode of SoCHiology, we're going to revisit Chicago's juke culture, but with a focus on the footworking scene. You see, back in that era, everybody was either in a dance crew, you knew someone that was in a dance crew, or you wanted to be in a dance crew. Or maybe you was in all three categories at one point in time. So we're going to get straight to it. And without further ado, clear the circle.
All right, so when y'all hear the term clear the circle, what comes to mind?
Get the fuck out the way so motherfucker get their ass burnt.
I was just about to say, when I hear that the first thing that comes to mind is I better move back because I'm about to snap.
Yeah.
That shit start playing instantly in my head.
Well, I'm gonna break your back, or that bitch got on some case with. That used to be my shit.
So you used to footwork to that?
I used to footwork to the I like the mixes that I like was like the mixes with the samples, like the R&B samples. Where it was like somebody singing in the background.
And they harmonize like, ooh,
yeah, like I used to love that shit. I used to take the fuck out to that shit.
Like, was you rocking Black Air Ones or?
Yeah, I was rocking the Black Air Ones, or I rocked I hit them with the Adidas, or I hit their ass with the what else was these back in the days? I know motherfuckers wearing mics, but I never really liked mics like that. I was like more of a ones type person. Or you know, they had the Pumas, they had the shit. Let it be a dress up day. Motherfuckers had on unlisted, all type of shit.
I was sure about to say, like, I've definitely seen some niggas footwork in some baggy ass, fat ass jabot straps.
That was me.
That was this, like. Like holding them pants up for dear life, but taking
36L.
Definitely seen it.
I was wearing a 36L, but I was like, I had the body of like a small 3T. You know what I'm saying? But that was me with the baggy jabots. You know, had to put the rubber bands at the bottom. You know what I'm saying? And they'd bleed on the white Air Ones and shit. I used to hate that with so much passion.
Drug pants.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and wasn't doing no drugs. Wasn't doing no drugs.
Boy, I had so many pockets. Boy,
but I was out there dealing the works though. I was dealing the works. So you said you wore Black Air Ones. So my question is like, because you know you from out west too. So it's nothing more dangerous than a mob from out west with Black Ones, but especially when the Black Ones leaning. You know what I'm saying?
When they leaning.
I feel like
when them hoes balled up a little bit.
And I feel like the most lethal footworkers used to have that get up, like the Black Ones that was lean, or they had some J's that was scuffed the fuck up, and then they had like a dingy hoodie.
Or they used to have a white tee, but the neck used to be stretched out a little bit, so it ain't you know, it ain't fitting as tight no more. It's kind of sweated out and stretched out a little bit.
Yeah, all that goddamn sweat, that nigga had shit to live for. He just out here.
So as a woman, Katie Toys, when they would clear the circle, did you ever hit them works too, or was you just like spectating?
For the most part, you know, I'm just spectating. I'm peeping the scene. I'm trying to see like who actually know what they doing, who don't, and then you know we gonna vibe a little bit. You know, might hit a little bounce and break your back, but our time to shine was, you know, when they played the R&B music. Outside of that, I'm just peeping the scene, trying to see who doing what, and really trying to see who the best footwork is, because that's the nigga who gonna be the coldest, and that's the one that all the hoes gonna try to talk to. So
really was like
Will,
that.
don't act, Will.
It really was. It was bogus as hell. Like, cause I remember at one point, like, what's dude name? What's the
Pope?
The Pope. Everybody in the city was trying to beat the Pope ass at one point in time. That nigga could not go nowhere, and it was bogus. Cause I was like, why the fuck everybody trying to get down on Shorty? Like, but it was cause he was footworking and taking niggas hoes. Like, it was literally that.
before Chicago drill scene really blew up, like the music with the youth, you was that nigga if obviously like sports and athletics. But if you could footwork, if you could dance, you was that nigga. Like dance teams really used to have the city on lock.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
If you weren't footwork and you was hip roller, you was like that nigga picking motherfuckers up and on the floor with them. You feel I was out. That's most of the motherfuckers I met. Matter of fact, it's crazy. Like being in like, okay, so like college wise, most of the motherfuckers that I met coming into college was just from being at child parties and shit. 2 years like before, you know, like just being at child parties and shit. Like it literally was that. Like I go to y'all parties and shit, we'd be dancing and shit. And motherfucker, like I fuck around. All my best guys that I ended up just fucking with for the rest of the time being there was like people who I just like, we was holding each other up and getting juked on, or we up in there have motherfuckers on the ground, all types of different shit. Like it just was like that. Like motherfucker don't cut rug no more. Motherfucker don't go to like the.
I got a question though, because you from out west, right? Okay, so out south, I know niggas used to go to the war zone, niggas used to go to the rink. We had Wallet Jam, you know what I'm saying?
Like,
yeah, these were dedicated footwork battle stations. Where
battle stations?
Out west, where was y'all at? Or so was y'all just come out south?
So we used to go to the war zone too, but then also we had like Fifth City and Rainbow and like all these different places. Fifth City was probably the biggest party place, you know, out west that we used to, you know, kind of go to. But then Rainbow and then a lot of other different places. Okay. But most of the time it was that, or we did. I ventured out south more so than my guys because I at one point moved out south. So, you know, I moved on the 9. So like I was at the rink and shit like that. So I was, you know,
sorry
like,
to hear that.
I got right. You feel me? Like it was bogus as hell. I hated that south. Like it's a whole different
let's not get carried away.
Hey, y'all a whole different entity out south. This shit different. Like motherfucker had to learn some shit when I moved out there.
So what was your introduction to footwork? And like, what was the first time you seen somebody's footwork?
And the first time I seen motherfucker footwork was shit, just being my cousins, like, and being on, I was on like, my cousin stayed in L-Town. I just used to go to, one of my cousins used to have parties all the time, and they used to clear the circle and one used to footwork and shit like that. And then, you know, just kind of going to like the little parties. They used to have parties, and we used to go to like the parties in Oak Park and shit too. So they used to have like little parties at like the hospitals and shit like that. And then like all the little community centers and shit like that, we used to go to block parties and shit like that. So probably a block party was probably the first time I got kind of introduced niggas for working on the street and shit. But
and then you just went out there. Like, fuck I'm out here.
Like I'm out here. Like it's just somebody block party and we probably just bent on that motherfucker like, all right, shit, we out here. Then next you know, everybody just around us, you know, doing their thing. And it was cracking because like back then, you like niggas was getting their ass whooped. Motherfuckers was still shooting back then. It wasn't as crazy as now, but motherfuckers was still doing all that shit back then. But then you would see niggas battle each other in the middle of nigga would pull up, like literally used to pull up on niggas and be like, you was talking that shit, burn me now, and block off the damn street and battle. Like that shit was crazy. Like,
but that just go back to, I think, just like footwork and the dance culture in Chicago back then just used to be something completely different altogether because I remember like my introduction to it was my cousin was on house arrest. Okay. And so going to their little dance practices and watching them, like I had to be, I don't know, I was probably maybe in like 5th or 6th grade watching them do it. But I remember like if you was like, I don't really I remember games being something reserved for like older people in my family, but like all my older cousins, like my high school age cousins and stuff like that, if you wasn't with a dance team, then you was a lame. So like dance culture was such like a for real.
Yeah,
it was a more prevalent thing because I remember like our weekends used to be like going to gym shows. Like I don't know if y'all remember, but they used to have gym shows, which is
I remember those.
Dance shows. And different dance teams would come and just battle that shit out. And it was like it was busting. Everybody used to be there. You put your best fit on, got your hair done, like, and you just don't see that no more.
And it was a lot of those dance crews too. Like you had Final Phase,
Heat Squad, Footwork
Squad.
King. Footwork Kings came later, but you had like Heat Squad, Zero Tolerance, Below Zero,
House Arrest, of course.
House Arrest. Yeah, I danced on House Arrest for a few years.
Yeah, it was like it's like you know how like nowadays everybody's starting an Instagram page, and I'm not trying to be shady, but you know everybody's starting an Instagram page for like a business or a side hustle. That's how the dance crews was back then. These motherfuckers will pop up every week with spray painted shirts. You know what I'm saying?
That's all you needed. That's all you needed. Matching spray painted shirts, and if it was at least 4 of y'all a dance group. That's it.
Right, and if you wasn't even like a dance group, it was like as long as you and your guys walked in and y'all had a synchronized like little step that y'all did, you was them niggas. Like you had to bop at one point in time together on some shit, like and be, you know, like that's back when niggas used to go out and color coordinate.
Yeah, like you got the black and white suit strings or like
right.
Color, you know what I'm saying? Then it was
like
definitely used to wear the socks with the little pom poms on the back and had to make sure the color pom pom match my little polos that I had with the collar pop. Did
you wear K-Swiss?
Oh,
I
ain't gonna hold you. I definitely had a pair of K-Swiss.
Because back in the day, that shit was busting. Though they was, you know, people wore K-Swiss back in the day when we was kids.
So that song came out and fucked everything up for K-Swiss.
Everything.
Everything up for K-Swiss. Everybody was embarrassed.
And you know what's so crazy? That shit really is traumatizing. That shit really traumatizing because it's little kids. Like I live in Texas now, right? And little kids be wearing K-Swiss, and I be seeing them, and I just be shaking my head like they don't even know. Like them bitches, like you should not have them on. Like
they don't know the history.
Don't let your ass be in that party and they play that shit and everybody just get the frying your shit.
Niggas started hitting the 40s and pointing at your shoes.
And tapping on the worst shit when they been down to tap your shit. Bogus as hell. Like,
hey, what was more disrespectful, that or taking your head off? Like, you know how they used to tip your head off if you had on a fitted? What was more disrespectful to you?
Like, well, we went through a whole like period of time where it was like a month, like the girls was taking niggas' hats off, you know, walk up to a nigga, take a nigga hat off, and put it on their head and shit.
That's how you claimed your nigga.
But then no, because some motherfuckers was doing that and that wasn't they nigga. Like, and that's where the situation got falsy at. Cause they're like, don't take my hat if you ain't gonna, you know, kick it with me. You feel me later? Like, that was like a sign of almost disrespect. Cause now you cop blocking from somebody that might really want me. And my hair better be cut if you taking my hat off, G. Cause if you take my hat off and somebody see me and treat me, I'm gonna be mad as hell. I got nappy, you know, my shit now. I'm trying to add this shit.
My head nappy right now.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't know, Will. I'm gonna have to say it, pointing out the shoes, G, because I just like. I feel like dance and music and fashion is such a huge part of Chicago culture that like back then, especially, that was a surefire way to fight. Like somebody hit your shoes and call them biscuits. Nigga, now we gotta scrub. We gotta scrub at this point. Like, gee, for real.
Remember the fat farm shoes?
Oh my God.
You'll go back in the house. You'll have to go back in the house. You have to. Motherfucker, keep frying your ass. And you'll be thinking that's done. You will be like, the whole roast session be over with. Y'all will be walking this shit. Motherfucker just casual walking this shit. Motherfucker get right back on your ass.
Then it's just like, you got to understand, when you know you footwork and you clearing out the circle, all eyes is on y'all. So
on shoes though. They really on the shoes.
Right. It's 60, 70 people. We footwork and I get to hit the 40s and I slap your shoes. You damn near got to unload on me at that point. Cause
oh my God, that's so disrespectful.
I may like you, G. Like, you may go crazy. Like, your shit may be raw as hell. You may be killing that shit. But if I look at them shoes, baby girl, and them shit's biscuits, shorty, I can't do it. that'll make you just ultimately not like a motherfucker. Like, never, man. Like, you was cute everything till I looked at your feet.
Yeah, ain't that messed up? It's like, you know, you can cross all check marks, but then you get to them shoes and it's just like, damn.
Maybe I pull that flip phone out in the middle of the party and I look down and see that your ones is linked over on the side.
Bogus,
you might as well go on, keep walking.
But what if he's the best footworker in there, though? What if he's the best footworker in there?
It don't matter.
Well, see, you know, but see, that's the thing, though. Like, it was like I said, like dance culture was so intertwined with everything else. Like the best dancers was also more often than not the cutest niggas and the niggas who had the clothes and like, you know what I'm saying? Like you ain't really see too many lame, dirty, you know what I'm saying? Just ugly ass niggas on dance teams. Like
that's what they had their jewelry from the flea market. You feel me? Had their jewelry from the flea market.
I mean, we ain't, you know what I'm saying? Niggas ain't know no better than fat ass, fake ass screws and they
yeah, I ain't no better. We all went through it. But you know, it's still the reality of the situation.
I actually never wore earrings though. I never got into the earring thing. Like at one point, I wanted to experiment with it, but I was like, no, because remember at that point, like motherfuckers was wearing contacts. Motherfuckers put the earrings, all type different shit.
Boy, them two slashes in their eyebrows.
Oh my God, blowing me.
Nothing.
My cousin still do that shit. I'm like, bro, you.
Wait, he still do that in 2020?
Still do that shit. Bro. I'm like, you still. This nigga is what? He about 29. Still do that shit.
Sir, you are 30 putting slashes in your eyebrow.
He wild. He wild. Remember like how you had like they had those all girl cliques too. They was kind of like the cheerleaders. That was like paired with like certain footwear. Y'all remember that? That shit was hilarious as hell. Constitutionally bonded and shit.
You know the crazy part though is that like it was real life, just like a group of like just literally just a clique. Like, all right, we hang out together, we get matching shirts, we get our shirts spray painted, we get our hair done the same way, and my boyfriend footwork on this team and your boyfriend footwork on him too. So now we all a part of a clique.
That's how it happened.
And I remember so many, I think we had like, it was like 4 or 5, because when I was in 7th and 8th grade, I was in a high school. And so I just remember seeing them like on like picture day with all them with taking their pictures with their back turned, with their hands, they pointed down to the back of their polo shirts. Well, like, with their matching polo spray painted. Yes, and being like, "Ooh,
that was
I can't wait for me and my friends get like that." Like that was really
I mean, let's keep it real.
That's what you desire. The magic pictures.
Yeah. Let's keep it real.
Pictures. Yes.
Like Greekdom is like kind of desired by a lot of people now, especially in the social media era. That's what these footworking and dance cliques or just cliques in general was in Chicago during that era. You know what I'm saying? Like that's literally what it was. It's like everybody wanted to be a part of something in some way, shape, or form. Like I had a whole little movement going out in Markham called Blackjack. You know what I'm saying? Shit was wild. Like, but everybody started some shit. Everybody started something or became part of something. It was beautiful too, because like Will said, it was still violence, but it was different though. You know what I'm saying? Let's just keep it real. It was different back then. Like you could still have beef and shit wouldn't go too far. Now you got big motherfucker going to get the bang and he's just gonna shoot you right there on the spot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we'll fight back in the days more so. We'll more so fight. You had them times where nigga may shoot, but for the most part, a nigga was getting his head beat the fuck in. And then we'll just go about our fucking business, like. But then that's just what it was, nigga still was it was still gang banging like a motherfucker back then.
Oh, absolutely.
10, 11, 12-year-olds, like the majority, right, getting involved in this shit. Whereas back then, when you was that age, you might have knew about the games because, maybe you had a daddy or, some uncles or something like that. But your quote unquote gang was either athletics or a dance group or something like that. Like you was trying to get involved in some other shit. It wasn't just like we out here on the street, so we not doing nothing.
Yeah, it wasn't like you just stole or you GD. You stole and I'm house arrest and I play for such and such. You know?
Right. Like you was like back then it was like niggas just straight. All right, yeah, I'm one of the folks, but still I gang bang, you know, and I dance and I get all the hoes because I dance, and that make motherfuckers want to rap my shit. So now these niggas is coming, they trying to be foes, or they trying to be lords, or they trying to be whatever. That is really in turn kind of what made gang banging like popular too, because certain blocks used to throw the best parties, and that's who all the females will go to. Boom. They all going to these parties, like all the lords going to these parties, all the females going over there. They want to hang out with them. So that made a lot of motherfuckers go to, that type of party and they want to rep this and rep that. And it was all kind of just intertwined. Because if you look at parties that we used to go to, motherfuckers used to gangbang in them parties. Heck, don't let some shit come on. Like, there was like knuck if you buck. Like, but back in them days, like some crucial conflict or some shit like that. Like niggas was gang banging hard with certain songs.
With some Bump J.
You feel me? Bump J type shit. Yeah. Niggas was gang banging like a motherfucker back in the days too. And that's where the fight used to come
now it's blatant as hell. Who let the GDs in the door? It's blatant as hell now.
Right. It was never like that. It was never like that back in the day. But then that came with the drill shit though. Like that drill shit.
So I have a question then. Because we talk about how much like footwork and just like dance culture in general was so prevalent that at that point in Chicago, like what has changed? What has changed and has made it so that now it's like, because I have little cousins growing up in Chicago, and like it's like we losing the recipes. Like they don't know how to footwork. Damn, they don't know what footworking is. Bounce and break your back. Like yeah.
I thought that until I used to throw like little parties and shit, like look like open mics and like party type situations for the youth in North Lawndale, because I'm from Austin. But I used to throw the little situations in North Lawndale. And them kids still footwork. They bop, but they footwork within the bop. So they still know what it is. Like they still do it, but it's not as like it wasn't, it's not prevalent. Like bopping was prevalent and like ticking and shit was more prevalent than actually moving your feet and footwork.
And what about the presence of like dance groups? Like I don't live in Chicago no more, so I'll be missing a bud. But like I remember like Final Phase and South Shore Drill Team, like them was the people that you went to, to the bud to go see. Like what are dance groups at?
I don't see them personally.
I think that shit kind of, I don't want to say it died out because people are still like, even so look at the Footwork Kings and shit. When they made Footwork Kings and all kind of the best dances came together, a lot of them branched off and start going to different countries and dancing as background dancers for like celebrities and shit like that. Shout out to all of them, like for real,
that's good
like
shit, though.
Especially like people from like creation and shit like that.
King
Charles and shit like that.
Footwork is thing in Asia right now.
Like, right, they making moves.
Yeah,
like
it's Asians be going crazy on them videos. Like they still ain't fucking with Chicagoans, but
no, but all over the world, footwork has taken a thing. Like it's become a thing all over the world. So granted, most of the people that were influencers back in that day, like they left and just expanded that shit, and now they got shit going crazy now.
That's good.
That's
good for them.
That shit dope. Like for the culture, like that shit raw as hell.
Yeah, but we still, I feel like we need to, like when I do come home,
do that. Right.
Yeah, like I would love to be able to see it like at the crib. It's this he's like a Chicago historian. His name, I don't know if y'all heard of him. His name is Sherman Dilla Thomas.
Yeah, he the Bronx. He was on this podcast.
Okay.
Whole lot of gang shit.
Well, yeah. So it's this thing that he said, like everything that's cool about America was either born in or made better by Chicago. That's true. When I think about footwork and I think about the culture of dance, it's just like our influence, man. It's just worldwide at this point. But I feel like we missing, like that's something when you think about Chicago. If you ask any native Chicagoan, like a real Chicagoan, not a nigga from fucking Waukegan. If you ask them about Chicago culture, you know what I'm saying? one of the things that you for sure gonna hear is like footworking. And I just feel like it's not as much of a part of our culture anymore.
I think,
but Will did bring up a good point about it just being different dances now, I guess.
Yeah. I think it's all to Will's point, it's different dances, things change, but I also think again, violence is nothing new to Chicago. Violence is in Chicago's DNA. But I think with the evolution of social media, it's just a lot of, it's not really the focus, because it's kind of like the things we did in our era. I don't want to say you can't do it now, but it's more dangerous to do it now because you don't know how people are going to react.
You know what I thought about too?
Go ahead.
From a macro level, it's like when we started this conversation, right? I posed a question to Will, like, what was y'all dancing at? And then I listed this like long, this 5 or 6 places where we would go. Like we would be at the park districts having showcases, and we would be at the Paul Hall, and they don't have these spaces anymore.
That's
and I
correct
think
too.
now
Yes.
Talking through it, maybe that's contributed to why dance is not such a prevalent part of Chicago culture anymore, because it ain't no spaces to have it.
Like I'm not sure. I don't want to go on record, but I was told this by someone who still lives in the area, because I don't live in Markham anymore, even though I'm from there. I was told Markham Rink ain't even open. Like I heard it don't even be open like that no more. You know what I'm saying? And like during our era, on a Friday or Saturday night, bruh, that shit was Hollywood.
Yeah, I only know of one skating rink. I don't even know if the rink's still open. I only know of one skating rink that is still open. Yeah. And it's out south. Fifth City been closed the fuck down. And I ain't even talking about Glenwood. This one over there on I'm gonna say it's on right across the street from that liquor store. I think it's King.
Oh yeah, the Martin Luther King Center. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Yep. That one is open. That's the only one that I know that's open. But that shit is wild. That, and then another point, you said social media. Remember back in the days, all we had was so we had Tag, we had MySpace. But then the Tag and the MySpaces was more so us publicizing dance group shit. That's what them the videos you was watching, them the pictures and shit you was watching. And YouTube,
Channel 19. Channel 19, because that's when the
post, that
was at the height. That was at the height of it. Because when niggas started tuning into Channel 19, niggas like, oh, what they doing? Where they at? All right, I'm trying to be there next weekend.
And then after that, what came along, you had the YouTube. YouTube started popping out. But then when YouTube popped out, what most of these motherfuckers was doing? They was either covering songs, making videos, the graphic videos for the songs, or they was dancing. And that's all you seen on there until we start getting into the Facebook era, Instagram, Snapchat, all these other different shits, to where they start filming motherfuckers fighting and putting all that extra shit. And this shit they start getting more views and more interactions with the websites because they start putting bullshit up. That's when that turn happened.
Yeah, it's like the consumerism changed. Like back then, it's like, oh, who, you know what I'm saying, what click doing what spot is popping, you know what I'm saying? But
the
now
music changed too.
Yeah, the music changed, and now it's just more so like, oh, what a drama.
Think about we had
it ain't clear the circle no more. We shoot the circle up now.
but right, and
that's what it is now.
Wow,
the music changed from the early 2000s. You had "Shawty Didn't Wanna Come to My Hotel." You had mostly the tracks that was coming out 3P. All these tracks you was either hip rolling to, or you was just vibing. You was shutting your mouth. You feel me? Like either that, or it was just good vibing music to where you can dance with each other and shit like that. That turned from being just good party and social interaction music to turning into the whole aggressive ass drill shit, which brought out the whole gangbang and all that different shit. And just everything. We don't have no good, like, real vibe with you R&B songs like that no more.
Well,
like, we do, but not like back in the day though.
That's what I'm about to say. I'm gonna have to push back against that because it is definitely a lot of good R&B. They just not popular. Most of the R&B artists for real are not popular. They like independent artists because it's a bunch of people that make like solid music.
Yeah, of course. I mainly listen to
R&B. Solid music, but like when you say solid music, is it like the type of music you can see yourself slow grinding, juking a nigga in the basement too, or is it just like? No, I think that's what
it's a lot of that. It's a lot of that, actually. It is a lot of that, but it's not a lot of the girl, you want to come to my hotel type shit where you can just dance and vibe with a person.
Though? TikTok culture is bringing it back though. I got a TikTok maybe a couple months ago, and
I still ain't got one.
It took me a while to try to figure it out. But a lot of these songs that they coming up with dances to and like that shit is reminding me of that era. It look a little different. And some of it sound a little different, but it's essentially the same thing. It's just that most of us we not really in the TikTok era. Like that's why little cousins and sisters and stuff like that. So we kind of missed it. And I think because of that, we kind of find ourselves turning into those, the old people.
We the uncles and aunts now, man.
Back in my day,
back in my day, we went to Market Rink on Friday, Saturday, Sunday after church. All that. I'm gonna be lying like a motherfucker. My grandkids. So I got a question. Yeah. I'm gonna start with KB. What was your record in a circle when you was, doing the 40s, bobbing against other women? What was your record?
Mm-hmm. Dun 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 dun.
Yeah, that's it right there.
That was they played that, and I knew it was over with.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm about to see up one time.
That was like so like I was telling somebody this the other day. The effect that Back That Ass Up has on people nationwide in Black America. Like when you hear them opening horns. You know what I'm saying? When you hear that, the effect it has, that's the same effect Bounce has on every Chicago. And if you don't react to that, then you ain't from Chicago.
You know what? That's how we need to start testing these motherfuckers when they be coming into the city for like Lollapalooza and shit, or when niggas be no, for real. When niggas be swearing up and down, if I meet them out here and I swear they swear up and down they from Chicago and I know they really from Bolingbrook or something like that. I'm gonna play that shit and them motherfucking feet don't start tapping. Them arms don't start moving. I know they lying.
And you know what my shit was? My shit was bald head. How they talking a lot of spat. In front of that. Let me bang. And that other song, You Nasty Girl.
We was listening to some very filthy shit back then.
Hell yeah.
Some very filthy shit.
Oh, absolutely.
This music promoted unsafe sex, promiscuity, and
it's just like so crazy because in hindsight, I'm just like, why was adults letting this rock? Like
we used to make the walls sweating that motherfucker. So when I say I had a party one day, I was at my daddy's crib. My daddy was like, "You have a party at my crib?" I was like, "Yeah." We was all on a pool table. When I say everywhere in that basement, we had the walls sweating to the point where the ceiling. The moisture from in that motherfucker went into the ceiling panel.
That's how the Rona was born.
Gee, the panels came down. Gee, the ceiling fell on us. Like the panels in the ceiling fell on us because it was so juking in that motherfucker. They helped me put them back up in that motherfucker. We kept the party going. Like,
we was getting lit. No liquor. We was just out there.
Just vibes. No phones, no alcohol, no weed, just vibes.
When I turned 21, the year that I turned 21, it was the year we used to go to like Red Number 5, Funky Buddha Lounge, and like it was like a bunch of bars and clubs up north that a lot of motherfuckers just used to go to, used to get it busted. It was at one point where everybody just stopped dancing with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And people just started going to the club just to, get their section and just dance by themselves, drink and dance by themselves. And when I say when that shift happened, like I just got totally uninterested with the club scene. Because it was like, why go to the club if you not gonna shake that ass on a motherfucker? Like, and that was my thing. I was like, why am I going to this club, paying to get in this club, and I can't even get no jukes no more? Like, we not even dance on each other no more.
Ain't nobody there to battle. Ain't nobody there could have.
Nobody doing nothing, and it was just like, this shit boring. Like, what the fuck am I paying to be seen? Like, everybody got too cool. That's the thing. Can't be like, that's it. Everybody got too cool.
We went from going to the jukeathons, you know, the sets, all of that, to footwork and all that, to have fun, to now everybody just gets dressed up to go out to be on Instagram.
To get looked at, do their videos. Some people do their videos and leave. Like,
that's wild.
What the fuck is wrong with you? You just paid $20 to get in this. I don't really pay to get in the club, but like $20, $40, depending on where the fuck you at, to get in this club, make a video, and then be like, you out. Are you fucking serious? Like, I don't like spending. I'm very not cheap, but I'm frugal. So I like to spend my money in good places and come back with some shit. If I go and I spend my money, I'm coming back with some shit. So I don't support that shit. I don't like that shit. Something needs to happen. This switch
we need to get that footwork culture back. When you bike.
That hip rolling culture back.
Yeah, we're gonna figure something out.
Bring hip rolling back.
Bring hip rolling back.
You know how everybody got super balls? We need to start having like footwork balls and some shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know,
I feel like people have been trying to do it. They just ain't really teed that bitch up the way that they really need to, because I've seen some people doing like, oh, like I'm gonna have an early 2000s party, but it's a barbecue. Like, nah, ho.
No.
Take that shit to the basement. For real, take that shit to the basement. Turn all the lights off.
Park District gym.
Yeah, turn all the lights off in that shit. Like, you know, everybody put their phone up.
The key to having a busting ass party like that is having all dance team and dance people in that party. It has to be majority dancers in that party.
You ain't gotta be on no dance team to know how to juke.
Not that. No, I'm saying like you gotta have dancers in that party that's gonna set that bitch off.
Yeah, I get it.
You know what I'm saying? Because if you look at it, right, the most busting ass parties was parties where it was motherfuckers that you know dance in different places. And they was all in one part. Right. Like, say, matter of fact, at West, when we had like our part, we'll make sure that we invite House Arrest, Elite Beauty, like all these different dance scenes that we know dance around the campus. We'll make sure that we invited them because we know they gonna dance regardless. And if we want the party to get live and we want people to dance with each other, they gonna get it busting regardless. And everybody gonna follow suit of that. So it's like the parties that I have been to. Matter of fact, Dance for House Arrest, one of the most crackingest parties that I have ever went to. I went to U of I, and it was all the damn most of the House Arrest chapters was at U of I that weekend. And we stayed in one, everybody came to one house at one point in time, and there was nothing but dancers in that motherfucker. When I say that was the most cracking party I've ever been to in my fucking life, the most cracking party I've ever been to in my life. But the reason why it was is because everybody came to that motherfucker and cut a rug and did not care about who was watching. They didn't care about somebody watching them. They didn't care about being cool. They was in that motherfucker going crazy, kid. Like, this shit. I'm 30. I'm 30. I ain't too old, but I ain't too young at the same. I ain't
no seen enough, but you ain't seen it all.
You feel me? But I can tell you some shit at the same time. Yeah.
But we gotta get KB Toys and her click up in there. So
look.
You feel me? Bring all of them. Bring them out.
You ain't got the mega knees.
I'm trying to have a busting ass basement party where it ain't no phones. It's $1 for girls, $2 for guys.
Yeah, fella too. What about what fit?
Man. Yeah, man. Like, I'm trying.
One nigga trying to put that.
If somebody can throw some shit like that together, I'm in that thing.
Hey man,
let's do it at Morgan Park Gym. You know y'all got that old school ass gym.
That If you,
No, I'm just saying, like y'all gym is just old school.
because I felt okay.
You better take.
Is y'all gym? Is it or is it not old school?
The only thing old is all of those championship banners. Okay.
All right, well, yeah, let me shut the fuck up right there.
Okay.
So you feel like I feel like it shouldn't even be that big. It should be something smaller and more just exclusive, and then jump to something like that when they get back to how it is. But this Rona shit is just kind of scary right now. Cause I would not mind doing some shit like that. I swear I would. There's so many places to do it. But this Rona shit ain't no fucking
you can't be clearing a circle with the Rona, because the Rona ain't going nowhere.
Man, bro.
You imagine trying to footwork with a mask on in a basement?
Man, you would be crying.
Ventilation, all types of shit. Don't let you have no asthma or no bronchitis.
It's over with.
Oh, you
I
done?
hope you brought your pump or a paper bag to breathe in.
Over with.
The pump with the black ones moving to the side.
Oh, God.
If you enjoyed this podcast, I ask for two things. Number one, leave a 5-star review. And number two, pass it on to a friend who may enjoy it as well. And don't forget to subscribe to our other podcast, Mogul Motivation from True Stories Media.